Instincts. I would like to speak with y'all tonight about how border policy in this country affects people's stories of immigration, including some different border policies such as DACA and the DREAM Act, and then I would also like to speak with you about what asylum seekers are and what the difference between the two groups of people is. Now that I've introduced my speech a little bit, I'd like to start at DACA. DACA is short for the Deferred Action of Children Arrival. It was created in 2012 by the Obama administration as sort of like a stricter, more limited policy to the DREAM Act, which I will get to next. While DACA was targeted for the children of immigrants, it allowed them to petition every 2 years at a time to stay in this country, only for 2 years at a time. Although it did not provide them access to citizenship, it did offer them opportunities such as the potential to go to college in America and higher education and employment. People argued against DACA, saying that it was not clear enough what constituted as the child of an immigrant, or even what constituted as a child past a certain age, or who constituted as being brought here as a child. So if you were 18, you could apply for DACA even if you were brought here when you were, 6 years old. And it became a little bit confusing. However, DACA, like I said, was in response to the DREAM Act, which was created in 2012, although it did allow for the access to citizenship. People felt that the only con to the DREAM Act was that it was very open-ended and it allowed for people to, and encouraged them to immigrate to the United States illegally, just so that they could get their citizenship, but in reality it encouraged more legal immigration from the ground up because it offered the opportunity to stay in this country with permanence and not just through like scholastic endeavors. Now that I've spoken to you a little bit about the DACA and the DREAM Act, I'd like to talk to you about what it means to be an asylum seeker in this country. The U.S. has always prided itself in being an asylum country. An asylum seeker is very similar to an immigrant, but it means that you are immigrating because of personal threats to your life based on your religious views, your sexual orientation, or any other political affiliation. If you feel like your life is in danger for those reasons, you can flee your country and come to America, and theoretically you are allowed in. However, in practice, that is not such a sound system. I explored border policies across America's southern border with Mexico, and I found that oftentimes asylum seekers are not given clear direction. While it does not cost any money to petition for asylum in this country, it is actually very difficult to get that status. Oftentimes, people wait for months on end without any real direction at lean-to border towns. They have to take it upon themselves to organize their addresses and living locations and the dates that they have court, because oftentimes they receive mail or they get notices about hearings in the mail when they don't have physical addresses, which can make it very difficult to petition for asylum if you can't be found or reached. It can be a very discouraging process, and oftentimes people end up just crossing the border illegally regardless. Now that I've spoken to you a little bit about the policies that are already in effect and the complications of seeking asylum in this country, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen and explore some of the things that could be done to better these policies through